So welcome to the Mindful Connection Happy Hour. I think we're week 6, if I'm not mistaken. Welcome you. It's been a long week, one more long week to go, to get through with all that's going on around the planet, not to mention in our country. And so tonight we're going to actually talk about resiliency in the midst of this and kind of finding a direction, finding a way forward through this. But of course, as always, I'd like to turn our focus towards the origins of mindful meditation practice. As always, we want to honor where it came from. So it came from Eastern religious practices, spiritual practices, Hinduism, Buddhism, many other religious practices and spiritual practices. We also want to honor the land we're on and all those who lived on the land before it was stolen. We honor all of the enslaved peoples who were transported against their will and whose blood, sweat, and tears birthed the society in which we live. We honor all of those who have chosen to live, work, and sacrifice in service to provide a sense of freedom and welfare for all. And finally, this week, we honor the brave healthcare workers, grocery workers, delivery workers, and all other service workers who are on the front lines, putting the good and welfare of humanity above their own. So with that, please join me in a moment of gratitude for all of the people I just mentioned and anyone else you would like to honor at this time. And with that, I invite you to take a deep breath in and exhale. And together we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. So as usual, we're going to do a guided meditation of grounding, connection, and compassion for ourselves and for others. As always, I'll start you off and then we'll spend some time in silence. And then I'll come back with the closing. All right. So the first, so I invite you to settle into wherever you're seated, and just notice if your feet are on the floor. Just notice your feet on the floor, and just notice your body in the seat, where your hips are touching the chair or couch or whatever you're on. Just notice and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, go ahead and settle into your seat just a little bit more. And I invite you to draw your attention to your shoulders. And on an inhale, just pay attention to how close up towards your ears they are right now. And on an exhale, go ahead and let your shoulders drop down just a little bit. Let gravity do the work to pull them away from your ears. Taking a deep breath in and pay attention to your spine and the base of your neck and where you're sinking in. And as you inhale, see if you can lift up like there's a cord pulling you up from the crown of your head towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, go ahead and allow your body to just relax just a little bit. I invite you to focus on this notion of resiliency. I think of resiliency as sort of an elastic band that gets stretched out in times of stress. And the resiliency is what allows us not to bend and not to break. It allows the elastic to actually come back to center when it has a moment to do so. And of course, this is one of those moments. I invite you to consider a series of questions I'd like to ask that have to do with resiliency and finding some direction during this time. I'm going to invite you to consider looking inwards. What are the traits that you have that have gotten you through to this point, to today? What are the traits that you have? And then I invite you to acknowledge what are the past experiences you've had that have gotten you to this point, to today. Where have you found resiliency in the past? And then I invite you to consider what inside of you has surfaced as a source of strength and character during this time. And the answers to some of these questions may be the same, and that's okay. And then consider, who have you looked towards during this time for strength and sustenance to help get you through, help guide you? What are the words or behaviors that they have exhibited that have resonated with you? Because those words and behaviors are a reflection of what is inside you that has gotten you to this point. Those words or behaviors are also breadcrumbs that point you to you. They lead you to knowing yourself better. What inspires you, what ignites you, and perhaps what direction you may want to go. In this challenging time, consider for yourself, what is waiting to emerge from within you? This is a time for reflection. We want to use it well because soon it'll be time for action, and we want to be ready. What is waiting to emerge from within you? How do you want to come out of this time period? What would you like to be proud of? Is there anything that needs to happen now to make that come about? I invite you to silently contemplate what's waiting to emerge within you. I invite you to put your hand on your heart, finding some compassion for yourself, knowing that this is a difficult, challenging time, but such a beautiful time for reflection if we choose to take the time for that. There's the potential, infinite potential of so many silver linings if you can seek and find them. So with compassion and gratitude, I say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.